Welcome to Falcons Ledge. I'm Ostringer, and today we're going to be looking at the Next Level Racing Flight Stand Pro, which Next Level Racing sent to me for free for a review. So just that disclaimer out there. However, Next Level Racing is also quite aware of the kind of channel that I run, and that I'm going to give this an honest review regardless of that fact. But in assembling it, I think it's going to be pretty good so far, but in order to find that out, we're going to have to use it a lot, aren't we? Well, this is going to pair well with the flight seat that I also have received. I'm going to connect those two soon, but these will be reviewed separately because they are two separate products. But of course, there's going to be some testing that's going to be happening with them used with a chair and also some with their flight seat. And of course, I'm sure that those are going to have fairly different results, especially considering the fact that mounting is going to be mounted directly to the stand when used with the chair, and it's going to be mounted to the chair when you're using a flight seat. These have an enormous amount of customizability, so in that vein, we're going to go through and show you how to set them up properly, how to get the right angles and positions for your sticks, and I think that you guys will be able to get a whole lot out of it. One of the primary configurations for this would be to have a plate on the left, which you can adjust, and a plate on the right. And the great thing about this is it has a keyboard tray with a provided pad and a mouse pad that also has a provided pad with it. Now this can be adjusted in and out using the screws here. I was curious and went and got my Monster Tech mount because I was going to put my center stick on here, and noticed that they provided a mounting bracket for what's intended to be yokes. But just because it's intended for yokes doesn't mean that that's its only use. I was able to mount the Monster Tech mount here, and it works great. Now, that doesn't mean that this is what you should use, just that this is an option. So if you already have a mount like this, something super sturdy, and you want to continue using it, but you want the convenience of something that you can move around and have as a complete solution like this, it's still an option to be able to use those if you prefer them. Now, Next Level Racing does provide two different mounting options for a center stick for this table. So let's look at those. This is one of the two configurations that allows you to use a center stick. It is completely adjustable, and this one is particularly if you have an extension, because this is going to give you more distance between the mounting surface itself and the top of your chair. This can be adjusted forward and back and up and down. It has these levers here that can be loosened, and it can be brought down further, or it can be brought up higher and closer to you by pulling it out that way. So it's a really neat solution, and I'm really glad that they gave multiple mounting options for even just a center mount here, because not everybody's configuration is the same when it comes to center mounts, especially because in center mounts you're dealing with possible extensions or curved extensions, or you're using something really tall like the T50 CM3, or there's all sorts of different combinations that you might see used. Now, I'm only going to be using this for testing purposes, as I'm going to be using the mount that mounts directly to the seat. But I did want to show you some of the different configuration options that are available on this flight table. Now let's look at the other center mount option. This is the other center mounting option. Again, it is adjustable. It can go higher or lower, and it can get closer to you or further away. You can just tighten these down this way. Oops, sorry, they're backwards for me. But if you are a regular viewer of my channel, you're going to already know that I don't recommend this. Now, I know there's probably somebody in Next Level Racing going, what? What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it is that this is a really bad position to put your stick in using center stick ergonomically. But in the end, ergonomics are about 60% objective and 40% subjective. So when you've got something that is objectively bad in ergonomics, but somebody prefers it, and what oftentimes makes this a reality for people is either a requirement or they like the look of it. Yep, aesthetics for some people really do matter. And some people like to have that stick up high. It's objectively, ergonomically bad, but people like it. And if you like it, guess what? Next Level Racing has a solution for you here. And you know what? I think it's great. Because if there are two things that I think are critically important for a setup like this, it's one, customizability. You can set it up how you want it, how you like it, and this has that. And then secondly, value. What is its cost to return ratio? Does it have an enormous amount of value for how much you pay for it? Well, we're going to see going forward here, aren't we? But what I can tell you right off the bat is it meets the first criteria. This thing has a huge amount of customizability options. Now we're going to look at the plate for your pedals. This is very important, especially if you have a nice set of pedals. There are some pedals that don't really need to be bolted down. One that comes to mind immediately is the VKB T-rudders. They go up and down, which makes them a lot easier to use if you are using an office chair. But if you get a set of pedals like the Winwing Skywalker or now Orion pedals, or if you get SLAWs or MFGs or Thrustmaster TPRs or any of these nice pedals, when you're pushing forward and back on them, it's going to want to push you back. There's a lot of solutions to that. You can put them on the floor and brace them against the wall. You can put them in an entire cockpit. You can brace your chair by using wheel brakes. Or you could use something like this. They even offer a rail that mounts forward of this that you can set your wheels of your office chair in. I'm not going to be using those, but I can tell you right now that they work. I've seen them work in other configurations. I've played around with some of my own that were homemade, and that solution certainly works. You combine that with a nice plate that you can adjust the height or the position or the angle, and you've got a great way to set up a comfortable position for your pedals. And if you're flying a warbird or a helicopter, that's amazing. And I am very excited to try it out. The next part that we're going to look at here is the mounting plate for your throttle. It can be adjusted side to side to get a little closer to you or a little bit further away. It also, with these little thumb screws, can be moved out of the way for easy entrance and exits when you have your chair mounted in on this, or when you're using this in conjunction with their Flight Seat Pro. So that's very convenient. It has a plethora of mounting options to be able to mount all of your favorite throttles or your favorite side sticks, and this seems to be a wonderful solution. So I'm excited to give it a shot. And finally, we have the combination mouse pad, right stick mount, and keyboard tray. Now, I'm going to be using this in a variety of ways, and I may not use it to mount my stick to, but I may use it for a mouse pad, and I'm definitely going to use this keyboard tray. Keyboard tray can be rotated like so. I haven't tightened those things down yet. And this mounting solution with the mouse pad integrated can also move inwards and outwards here. And all of these solutions can be moved up and down the rail system. The rail system can move upwards so that you can move the deck higher and lower, as well as there are options for being able to change the angle of it as well. One more thing that's nice about this is that it can be folded up and put away. That isn't going to be something that I'm going to be doing to it, but I'm certainly going to look at it as a potential feature for other people who do. So I think that we've explored the different possibilities of configuring these. Now we're going to put it into practice, and we're going to start looking at some actual configurations of this product. So now we're in the studio, and we are going to begin configuring our cockpit. I've connected the stand with the chair. I figured out where I wanted the chair to sit in relation to the joystick, because that's the most important piece that we have there. And that is because, you know, what are you going to be interfacing with the most in your cockpit? It's the joystick. After we did that, the next thing to do is to make sure that our pedals are where we need them to be comfortable. So the next thing to do is to figure out where the pedals need to be in order to be comfortable. In this case, because the stick mounting point is considerably far up, I think that right off the bat, a recommendation would be to provide multiple mounting points for the stick, the cross member that mounts the stick, so that if you have the seat move back a little bit, you'll still be able to mount on that mount and not have your stick far away from you. So I've put the mounting plate as far up as it can go, and I have put my pedals mounted in the final slot here. I hopped in it and made sure that it was comfortable, that my feet were on the pedals and not reaching or not being scrunched up, and it feels pretty good. So I think that we're ready to proceed to the next devices. For pedals like I have here, that are somewhat replica pedals of real pedals, they're going to move in this motion, straight forward and straight back. As a result of this motion, I'm not really going to want any angle on my pedals. If you're using some other type, maybe like SLAW pedals, or if you're using VKBT rudders or something like that that have a different type of movement, maybe you will want to have some angle on those. In addition, you can choose the height that you want your pedals, but I think that they're pretty good here. The furthest forward, furthest down is where I have them. I also made sure that my pedals would clear all of those pieces here and not impact any of them. I have them in a configuration where we have no spring right now, so that's why they move so easily. And so I got this mounted, and I need to tighten this down, no problem. So I had an extra mount from a different set of desk mounts, and what I did was I just bent it so that it was leaned back a little bit, and then bolted it right down to this arm. And this arm can be loosened, and it can actually be rotated out of the way so I can get out or whatever. But for the most part, it's going to stay right there. And there it is. So there's my landing gear lever and other things. So I think that will work out okay. So I guess the next step is getting the MFDs on and the keyboard tray. I was able to attach the keyboard tray, but not exactly how it was intended. What I did was I connected it to my Predator mount. So this is the Next Level Racing piece, all connected there and adjustable. I still do need to connect the adjustable. And then I bring it in and square it up at that corner, and there you go. Keyboard tray. The problem I had was that my stick kept striking the tray that came with it. I tried using the smaller one as well. It had the same behavior, but this one stays nice and out of the way, and the Predator mounts in their nice color, black color, match and everything. So hey, you use what you got, and that's what I had. I will still be able to show off in a wonderful way the Next Level Racing keyboard tray. Now for the MFDs. All right, folks, we are nearing completion, at least on the initial assembly. The MFDs are in. which means we have all the sticks besides the left stick. I don't know what the solution for that is going to be quite yet, but in order to get going for DCS, we are in pretty good shape.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the first episode in our Next Level Racing SimTable Pro review, and there's going to be a whole lot more of them coming soon, so please stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It really does help us out. And, of course, have fun, fly safe, and as always, folks, have a great day.